For more on this, we're joined now by the Lowy Institute Senior Fellow Richard McGregor. Richard, good morning to you, by the way. How would you describe this meeting?
Well, it's very interesting that both sides have actually taken the chance to meet. You might remember before Mr Marles went to Singapore, he said that no meeting had been arranged. But clearly, both sides, particularly China, I would say, decided that it was about time to end the standoff and get together. It's important to remember, though, that there's no change in the fundamental problems in the relationship. All that's happening now is that we're talking about them. And of course, in the case of the military, that's a good thing, because that means we might be able to avoid the kind of incidents we had in the South China Sea a few months ago that you mentioned in your report.
So can it really be described as a breakthrough just yet?
It's not. It's a mini breakthrough. It's, if people describe it as a thaw, this is a big ice block and it's going to take a while to melt. And there's no sense that our real differences are going to change. But the fact that we're talking is good. It will be interesting now to see whether it spreads beyond defence. It's important to remember that, the Chinese, the People's Liberation Army, the defence apparatus, they've got a little bit more running room in foreign policy. They kind of run their own race. So will our foreign ministers now talk? Will our trade ministers now talk? I think that's the next thing to watch.
So for something to reach the breakthrough level, I mean, there's got to be signs of the economic coercion ending, doesn't there? The trade sanctions have got to be wound back.
Absolutely, and it's pretty hard to see that in the short term for a number of reasons. I mean, China denies, first of all, that they are taking trade sanctions against us. Secondly, a couple of them, I think wine and barley, if I remember correctly, are now being sort of adjudicated before the World Trade Organization. So that process will probably be allowed to play out, and that could take at least a year. So we might see China sort of informally lifting the ban on some goods like coal, for example, if they needed it. But I would not hold my breath for a wholesale reversal on those issues.
It's interesting how this meeting with Richard Marles has taken place, and you marry that up with some of the inflammatory language that China has issued towards the US over the weekend, still describing the US as a bully, certainly not wanting anything back there. What do you make of the difference between its actions to Australia and its actions to the US?
Well, it tells you how limited its actions to Australia are. We're an important US ally. We're deepening that alliance, so that's not going to change. So we're very much a part of, a subset of the US-China rivalry. And you talk about the language there that the minister has used against the US. You go through the Chinese press every single day, it's even worse. So the US-China contest over multiple domains is continuing, and I think will intensify. And as a result, Australia's relationships with China aren't going to improve radically as well.
Okay, so we can expect more of the same for the next, at least, several years.
Yes, but it's good to, there's no reason we shouldn't talk to China if it's in our interest to do so and if it can relieve tensions. But we shouldn't overestimate, we shouldn't talk about a reset, because there's no going back to what it was.
Good one. Okay, Richard McGregor, interesting. Thank you for your time as always. We'll talk to you soon.